To share a couple of words with you, Alexandre. We want to send a message. I know there's a couple of English speaking folks as well, so I'll just say it again in English. I want to make it really clear today that New Democrats are standing in solidarity with all of you. We want to send a clear message to Justin Trudeau and to the Liberals that we don't want to see any interference by Justin Trudeau that interferes with the fair negotiation of a contract. What the workers are going through now is CP Rail and CN Rail have locked them out. It is their fault that this is going on. They locked you out. It's not your fault. They locked you out. You wanted to negotiate. And what you're negotiating is safety, not just for yourself, but for all Canadians, for all Quebecers. Because if there's not safety on the line, it's the life and the threat to danger, or the danger to all Canadians, to everyone in this country. So we want to make it very clear. We're not going to accept any interference, whether that's forcing arbitration, whether that's forcing back to work. None of that is allowed on our watch. We're going to fight and oppose that. You're not going to see Justin Trudeau or Pierre Poilievre on a picket line, but you'll always see me and Alexandre and New Democrats in solidarity with you. We were founded by workers and unions. We will always stand in solidarity with you. Merci. Thank you.
You heard CN talk about the issue of safety as well, though. They're saying there is federal regulation in place that mandates the hours of work. Do you feel that that's just not adequate, that the workers are not...
Absolutely, it's not adequate, and there's independent sources that say it's not adequate. And so I should make it very clear, we're in this mess for two reasons. One, because CP Rail and CN Rail have locked out these workers. It's their fault, so all the blame should be on them. Secondly, and equally important, it's the fault of Justin Trudeau for not putting in place better laws to protect these workers. So now they're forced to have to go and find it in negotiating in the contract. They shouldn't have actually even had to do this. They should have already been in place the laws of the utmost quality to protect workers and Canadians and Quebecers. That law should have been changed by Justin Trudeau. He did not do his work. He failed. And now we're in this conflict where the big bosses have now locked out these workers. So those are the two people to blame for what we're going through. It is not the fault of the workers.
How long can this go on? How long can the Canadian economy withstand this?
That question should go to CP Rail and to CN Rail. They need to get back to the table, not lock out these workers.
I'm just asking how long you think that the Canadian economy can withstand this shortage, this stoppage, no matter whether it's the CP's fault or the workers. I'm just saying, how long can we go on like this?
Well, the whole point of this is to put pressure on the fact that these workers have gotten locked out. And so CP Rail and CN Rail should realize the harm that they're doing. Get back to the table and negotiate fairly with these workers.
But at what point is it going to become critical for the economy? And
this is why CN Rail and CP Rail have to get back to the table. They have to get back to stop locking out these workers. These workers are ready to work and ready to negotiate. They locked them out, so stop locking them out.
Mr. Singh, you said you were asked in French, but in English, if the Liberal government enacts back-to-work legislation, would that be enough for you to pull out of the supply and confidence agreement?
Well, we said at the very beginning, when we forced the Liberals to move forward on things like dental care, when I forced Justin Trudeau to move forward on pharmacare, we said, if you ever think that you could bring in back-to-work legislation and call it a confidence vote, we will vote against that every single time. We made it very clear. So they know we will not support any interference, not just back-to-work legislation, but any interference. If it comes to Parliament, we will be voting against it. We will oppose it. We will make it very clear. We're the only ones, the only party that will always stand in solidarity with working people. You know who's on your side when you're in a fight. New Democrats will always be on the side of workers. Pierre Poilievre will never be seen at a picket line. Justin Trudeau will never be seen at a picket line. We're here because we care.
Is back-to-work legislation ever appropriate in your view? Never?
Never. We should always negotiate. Particularly the message it sends is that it rewards bad behavior. It rewards an employer if they lock out their workers, if they mistreat their workers, they don't have proper safety, and they say, you know what, we know anyways we'll get the outcome we want because the government will just do it back to work or force arbitration. That's why we have to make a clear line in the sand. Never. We should always negotiate fairly, put pressure on getting a fairly negotiated solution, but never force the workers back. That undermines not just these workers, but in any future conflict. It'll send a message that employers can just disrespect their workers. That's wrong.
What about binding arbitration? Is that something you could...
No, in this area, I also said I'm opposed to that entirely. The matters that we're dealing with are very complex safety issues that will not be very well settled in a binding arbitration. They should be negotiated properly. We should look at best practices and make sure we keep the workers safe and keep Canadians safe.